Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in Helwan, Egypt. The year's 2001. It's late morning, hot, and everything feels ordinary.
Completely ordinary. Just another apartment building on another residential street, the kind of place where routine is everything.
Until it's not.
Right. Because suddenly a sound just rips through that quiet.
A scream, a woman's scream, and it is piercing.
Desperate. It's coming from the apartment of a couple, Youssef and his wife, Aziza.
People immediately start running. The first one in is the building guard's daughter, who actually worked for Aziza, so she knew them well.
And she finds Aziza just hysterical, saying the same thing over and over.
Help me. My husband fell. He's gone.
So everyone rushes into the bedroom, and there's Youssef, 63 years old, dead on the bed.
And the neighbors, well, they immediately draw a conclusion.
A very simple one. Natural death. And I mean, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, the man was known to be severely ill.
Severely. We're talking chronic heart problems, really bad diabetes. It had taken a huge toll. He couldn't get around easily, and he'd recently had a foot amputated.
So, seeing him like this, it wasn't a shock. It was, sad, but almost expected.
An unfortunate inevitability.
Exactly. So, a doctor comes, takes one look at his massive file of prescriptions and hospital reports.
And signs off on it. Natural causes. The health office issues the burial permit, no problem.
Before the sun even sets that day, Youssef is buried in the family cemetery.
Case closed. A sad, quiet end for a sick man.
But quiet doesn't always mean finished. Fast forward 20 days.
The mourning period is over. Aziza is trying to pick up the pieces, and then a knock at the door.
It's the police. And they are not there to offer condolences.
No, they're there to arrest her.
She is charged with Youssef's premeditated murder, citing criminal suspicion.
Okay, so let's unpack this for you. Think about this. 20 days have passed. The body is in the ground. A doctor has officially declared it a natural death.
So what in the world could have surfaced after the funeral to make the police not just reopen the case, but charge a grieving widow with homicide?
That's the mystery we need to solve.
And to do that, you have to go back 16 years back to 1985.
Right, that's where this all starts. Aziza was a young, very sharp tax officer in Giza. Youssef was her manager.
And he was older. Significantly older.
A 20-year age gap. For Aziza, that was part of the appeal. The idea that an older man would be more sensible, more stable.
The safe bet.
He was instantly drawn to her, and they married that same year.
Now, this wasn't his first marriage.
No, he'd been married twice before. One wife died, the other marriage ended in divorce, and crucially, he had no children.
And Aziza also had trouble conceiving, so in a way it seemed like a good fit. Companionship without the pressure of starting a new family.
But that dream of stability, it soured. Fast forward 13 years and the marriage is just curdled.
The age gap didn't bring maturity, it brought control.
An incredible amount of control. He became emotionally abusive, constantly accusing her of marrying him for self-interest.
After all this time.
Yeah, as if she was some kind of gold digger. It was all about chipping away at her self-worth.
And this is before his health really collapses.
Exactly. The psychological erosion came first. Then his body started to fail him. The diabetes got worse, the heart problems, and then the amputation.
He's forced into early retirement. His pension is tiny.
And the medical bills are astronomical. They completely swallow his income.
So Aziza's role shifts entirely. She's not just a wife anymore.
Not at all. She becomes his full-time caregiver, his nurse, and the sole financial backbone of their entire life.
She's paying for everything. All the specialized care, the debt, everything.
And you'd think he'd be grateful.
You would think.
But instead, he doubles down. The control becomes what investigators called a love of ownership.
A love of ownership. Wow.
She needed his permission for everything. And the biggest point of conflict was her own father.
Her elderly father, who she also wanted to care for.
Youssef couldn't stand it. He insisted that his needs came first, that he had to be her absolute, undivided priority.
So she's being drained financially, she's exhausted physically, and she's trapped psychologically. This is the woman they called the Iron Woman.
Not because she was heroic, but because she had been hammered into something hard, something on the verge of breaking.
Okay, so that's the context. How did the police get from A to B? From natural death to a murder investigation?
It all started with one phone call.
An anonymous tip.
From a relative of Youssef. And the accusation was stunning. They said Aziza beat her husband to death.
Which is a huge claim. Considering the circumstances, the police couldn't just exhume the body based on that.
Right, so they had to be discreet. They started talking to the only real witnesses they had. the neighbors.
And the neighbors started to paint a very, very different picture of that day.
A completely different one. Let's start with the first two witnesses students who lived in the building.
Okay, what do they say?
They both testified that they heard Youssef screaming that morning. Loudly.
And one of them was very specific. He said he heard Youssef yelling for help. A clear cry of distress.
Immediately before Aziza let out her own scream announcing his death.
That timing, that's really bad for her story.
It's catastrophic. Then you have witness number 3, a close friend of Youssef's who ran in when he heard the noise.
And he sees something.
He sees a distinct spot of blood on the pillow where Youssef is lying.
A spot of blood.
But here's the kicker. The friend steps out of the room for a moment, and when he comes back in, the pillow has been changed.
It's gone. Someone cleaned up the scene in the middle of all that chaos.
Exactly. And witness 4 just confirms the violent atmosphere. A neighbor who recalls hearing terrible arguments.
And saw something physical, right?
Burn marks on the living room ceiling. Youssef had told him once that Aziza, in a fit of rage, had threatened to burn the entire apartment down.
So the police now have a timeline that doesn't fit. A cleaned-up scene and a history of violent threats. But they still need motive.
The final nail in the coffin. And they found it. The money. The investigation uncovered a secret transaction from 5 months earlier. Youssef had been talking to the building's owner.
About what?
About selling his rights to the apartment, their home. He wanted a lump sum of cash to cover his medical debt.
And what would that have meant for Aziza?
It would have meant she'd be homeless. After 13 years of total sacrifice, he was planning to leave her with absolutely nothing.
That's the betrayal. That's the breaking point.
When she found out, it triggered the worst fighting they had ever had. It was the final war.
So with all of this, the witnesses, the cover-up, the motive, they bring her in.
And at first, she denies everything. She's strong. She even tries to flip it on the building owner, saying he's framing her to get the apartment.
But the evidence is just too much.
It's overwhelming. She breaks down. And she confesses.
And she describes it in a very specific way.
She said she delivered the knockout punch.
El Darba El Qadiyya. It sounds so final.
It was meant to be. She saw it as the end of a long, brutal fight.
And the trigger, it was something so small.
So mundane. She wanted to go to her niece's birthday party. A single afternoon of freedom.
And he wouldn't allow it.
He gave her his final ultimatum. He told her, if you leave, you are divorced and never come back.
And after everything.
Yeah.
The abuse, the financial ruin, the planned eviction, that was it.
That was the snap. She said her whole life just flashed in front of her. The lost years, the empty future.
And he was vulnerable.
Completely. He wasn't wearing his prosthetic leg. He was leaning on furniture just to stand. He couldn't fight back or run.
And she just tagged him.
Violently. She called it a free wrestling match. Yeah. He started screaming for the neighbors.
The screams they heard.
Yes, and to silence him, she hit him. A hard punch right to the face. The knockout punch.
He collapsed.
Instantly unconscious. But he was still breathing.
Oh, wow.
She realized it wasn't over, so she finished it. She strangled him until he was dead.
And then the cover-up. She moved him to the bed, arranged the scene.
And started screaming for help, playing the part of the grieving wife, a performance that fooled everyone for 3 weeks.
So with the confession, they exhumed the body.
And the forensics confirmed everything. The blaze to the head, the clear signs of strangulation, it all matched her story perfectly.
Aziza, the Iron Woman, was convicted of murder.
And sentenced to death.
When you really look at this case, it's about this transformation. This ordinary woman who was pushed and pressured for years until she became a killer.
The key takeaway is that Youssef never changed. The need for control, that love of ownership was there for all 13 years. He just kept pushing.
Until she finally pushed back.
It just leaves you with this really chilling thought, doesn't it? If some personality flaws, these deep controlling behaviors, are truly unchangeable, what's the real consequence of hoping that they'll get better under pressure?
Especially when your entire life depends on it.
Yeah.
What does it actually take for a person to reach that 180-degree breaking point, where all that despair finally just overrides everything else?
Something to mull over as you consider the fragility of the human psyche.